Everybody says that the first firefighting starter was introduced in Generation 4, but as far as I know, Blastoise is a Generation 1 Pokémon. And now Blastoise is rounding out our Generation 1 starter trio. Unfortunately for all you Raichu fans, I meant what I said when I said I was never going to run that line again, at least for the foreseeable future, so we will have to wait another day for the Raichu challenge. Now Blastoise should do fairly well throughout the course of its Generation 2 challenge run today. It is a water type, so it's going to get access to a very strong stab move very early on. However, we do have a couple of early learn set niggles to deal with at the beginning of the game, and in fact, why don't we take a look at our stats to see what I mean? We are level 5 with 24 HP, holding a berry with Tackle, Tail Whip, Bubble and Withdraw. And for our stats, we've got 14 in attack, 16 in defense, 15 in special attack, 17 in special defense and 14 in speed. We've seen how both Venusaur and Charizard got on in their respective runs, so let's round off the original starter trio by running Blastoise. Now Blastoise doesn't have a particularly good start because we've only got Bubble as a stab move, and Bubble is terrible, being just base 20 power. But once we get to level 13 and we get Water Gun, things will start to speed up quite nicely. I'm trying something a little bit interesting and a little bit experimental with our Hidden Power, by the way. I've gone for Hidden Power Psychic, mostly for Chuck, but I think a good neutral special Hidden Power might actually work quite well in our favour. I'm just going to expend a couple of these bubbles as well while we get the free heal at Mr. Pokémon. I want to try and find some Geodude because they will be one-shots, because the quicker we get up to 13, the better. Here's a Geodude, so I'm going to do a little bit more of the old Geodude beating up, and then it'll be time for Rival 1. I reckon level 9 will be just fine for Rival 1. It still might be a little bit slow, especially because he's got the Chikorita line, but we'll see how we fare. We're going to use Tackle, he's going to growl at us, he's now moving on to Tackle, that's absolutely fine by us, and we get through fairly quickly. Time for 2 minutes and 34 seconds for Rival 1. That means we can head back to the lab. We'll name the rival triple ? For yet another challenge. And then the plan will be to head towards Violet City. I'm going to go into the Dark Cave. I'm going to beat up a couple more Geodude before we take on Falkner. So let's meet up when we are ready for our first badge. And we have Water Gun now. This has suddenly become an awful lot easier. It's a challenge run. Let's take on Falkner. One shot on the Pidgey, probably two shot on the Pidgeotto. That's what we like to see. Water Gun is an infinitely better move than Bubble, and we get the Zephyr badge in 5 minutes and 35 seconds. So all that pre-training only really costs about a minute to a minute and a half, which is not bad at all considering we got all the way up to 13 for Falkner. That does mean we get the call from Elm, we'll ignore the storyline, we'll stick the egg in a box, and we'll start heading towards Azalea Town, where we'll catch the HM friends. And now that we're out the other end of Union Cave, we will pause the timer to catch ourselves Kenya. In Union Cave, we took on the Hikers with the Rock Grounds, as well as the two Fire Breathers, all one-shots in Union Cave, and now we have caught Kenya. Kenya's going to be helping us out with Fly, and it is a very, very handy Pokemon to have on the team. And with that, we can move on to catch our next two HM friends. So once again, we are pausing the timer, this time at 8 minutes and 3 seconds. And we're going to catch Psyduck first and foremost. Psyduck will be helping us out with Surf, Strength, Whirlpool and Waterfall. And last but not least for now is Paris. Paris' job is to help us with Dig, with Rock Smash and with Cut. And with those two safely caught for another challenge, we are ready to take on Bugsy. And we've just learnt Bite off Bugcatcher Benny's Beedrill, and that does mean we can now take on Bugsy. Bugsy is our second gym leader together. He is, of course, a Bug-type specialist, led with Metapod that's already gone down. Kakuna's going to go down in much the same way as we grow to level 20, and here comes the Scyther. As long as we can knock out in 3 to 4 turns, we'll be absolutely fine, as we are. And that is Bugsy defeated, Hive Badge acquired in 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Let's now do a very, very quick heal, because we can't celebrate for too long. The dreaded Rival 2 is just around the corner. I'm very glad we've got Bite, because it's going to give us something neutral and a flinching move for the Bayleaf. We've got to get through the Ghastly first and foremost, though. We'll use Bite to guarantee the one shot against the Ghastly. Here comes Bayleaf. We are looking for flinches. If we flinch, we'll be absolutely fine. I think, though, we're in the clear either way now. We'll continue nibbling on this Zubat. We don't hit ourselves in confusion. And we get through the rival in 10 minutes and 53 seconds. That means it's time to start traversing our way through the Ilex Forest, where of course we're going to be getting both Cut and Headbutt. Once again, we're on a run where we learn Headbutt, and once again, it is too useful for me not to have on the learn set. I am looking forward to a day where we don't have Headbutt again. But in the upcoming future, Headbutt is still going to be a very, very important move. It's like Surf with a water type. If you have the option to learn it, there is absolutely no reason not to. So let's go and get it now. We've been extolling its virtues for long enough. Hello, Mr. Green-haired man staring at the tree. Give us a TM, please. Thank you very much. And let's now teach it in place of Tackle. I think, after we leave Goldenrod, especially after we've gotten Hidden Power, our learn set is going to be incredibly stacked. We might end up with a little bit of the old 4-move syndrome at times, but I genuinely think this could be one of the best learn sets we have had in a very long time. Pausing at 11:59 to catch our Abra now. Abra's going to be helping out with Teleport, and as I say on many, many runs, without Abra, these runs would take an awful lot longer. But with that, the HM friends are complete, and we can start thinking about what we want to do in Goldenrod. We've already done our first sweep of Goldenrod City. We've been up to National Park to go and grab ourselves the Dig TM. We're not quite friendly enough to learn Return yet, however we are going to get ourselves TM33, which contains Ice Punch, and we're going to teach it straight away in place of Tackle. Tackle is a terrible move. We've got a much better normal type move on the learn set, and that means we can go into the underground and take on a couple of trainers before it's time for Whitney. And now, after beating up Lascarry Schnubbubble, there's only one more thing left to do in Goldenrod, and that is to take on Whitney. She is our third gym leader together. She is a normal type specialist who leads with Clefairy. No Perish Song from the Clefairy this time, and we are on to the Miltank. She's locked herself into rollout, and that's exactly what we wanted. We get the option to learn Rapid Spin. We're going to say no, because Rapid Spin is a terrible move. And we can obtain Whitney's badge in 16 minutes and 15 seconds. Let us leave the gym. I'm sure Whitney's not happy about being defeated there. She had a foolproof strategy and we came and poo-pooed it. Let's get the squirt bottle off the eavesdropping so-and-so. And today we are going to be doing fast, safe Ecruteak. So that means we will take our heal here in Goldenrod and we'll start cycling up towards Ecruteak City. And now today it makes sense to go straight into the Kimono Girls here in Ecruteak. We want to get ourselves Surf quick, sharp and in a hurry, because Surf is going to be a massive upgrade to our offensive capabilities. In fact, I would kind of like Surf for a lot of these gym trainers, but that option is not there. We've been confused by confusion. That's not good. We should still be fine though. I think that's the only opportunity for a status ailment like confusion in this little gauntlet of attacks. But we are now missing our headbutts because of Sand Attack. Goodness me. We're not getting the luck today, are we? Let's move on to the Vaporeon. We'll have a nibble on Vaporeon, make ourselves feel better. And Sand Attack was meaningless there. We've only got the Jolteon left to go. And then we'll be able to claim our reward of Surf. And it's not a one-shot, goodness me, and we've been paralysed. Thank goodness we knocked out on turn number 2. Please give us Surf. We never want to think of this place again. We're going to teach Surf right here, right now, to our Blastoise. And then we'll move on to Olivine City. So we've grabbed strength from the man in the Olivine Cafe. We've got our heal point set here to Olivine City. Let's climb the lighthouse. And so we've made it to the tippy top of the lighthouse where Jasmine tells us all kind of lies about Amphi. We will oblige though, we always do. We have no choice in the matter. We'll go back to Olivine Pokemon Center. And then we can take on Rival number 3. And Rival 3 of course lives here in the Burnt Tower. We've got a very good learn set to take him on, so I'm not expecting too many issues whatsoever. And he is going to lead this time with Haunter. We've got Bite, we'll one-shot that with Bite, guarantee the KO there. And then we'll Surf over the Magnemite. That goes down in one hit, so we can move on to the Bayleaf. Probably a range here, we have ended up being poisoned, which is kind of annoying, but not particularly game-changing. We'll Surf over the last Zubat as well, and now we can fall through the floor, and we can take on Morty. We've beaten up all of the gym trainers in this gym, and that means we can now take on Morty himself. He is our 4th gym leader together, a dual Ghost and Poison type specialist who led with Garcy that's gone down. We'll use Bite on the Haunter as well, and we can move on to the Gengar. Probably not going to be a one-shot either way, so we will continue using Bite, and that just leaves the last Haunter left to go. We take care of it, Mintberry did its thing, and we get the Fog Badge in 24 minutes and 41 seconds. With that, we can now keep heading east, because we're about to go to the Lake of Rage to get not only Hidden Power, but the Rare Candy as well. And now at the Lake of Rage, we'll grab this Rare Candy hiding in front of the tree, and we will also grab Hidden Power. While we're here, we might as well pick up the Detect TM, sell it for a little bit of money so that we can do a little bit of extra vitamin shopping, and we will get Hidden Power right about now. And it's going straight on the Learn set in place of Bite. It's ostensibly going to be a slightly higher powered Bite for our purposes, and it will be incredibly useful as we go through the next part of the challenge. Let us now ensure that we've taught Strength to Psyduck. I'm going to keep Headbutt on the Learn set as opposed to having Strength on our Blastoise. Mostly because I really like the opportunity to flinch Pokemon when we know that we're not going to be able to one-shot, and we'll test out Hidden Power against this Tentacle, seeing as it showed its face, and it did very well for itself. We've beaten up all of the gym trainers here in Chuck's gym, and that just leaves Chuck himself left to go. He is our 5th gym leader. He is, of course, a fighting type specialist. He led with Primeape that has gone down. We'll fish for a flinch against the Poliwrath. We didn't get it, and he does land a Dynamic Punch, and he's now sent us to sleep. It's a shame we can't hold multiple berries at once. Let's hope this is a short nap. We've hit ourselves in confusion, but we just about scraped by, goodness me. First try Chuck, I'm not sure whether we deserved first try Chuck there. 28 minutes and 34 seconds for Chuck's badge. Let's get ourselves fly and let's head straight back to Olivine City. I feel like we need a much easier gym battle after that one. That one was a little bit more brutal than it otherwise should have been. So we're going to reascend the lighthouse and we'll hopefully get some kind of revenge by taking on Jazz. So at the tippy top of the lighthouse, we do give the secret potion to Jasmine, and we've got to check her handbag. We know that she likes using secret potion on her Steelix. Let's see if she does it today. Let's get straight into her gym and we will take her on. This is Jasmine, our 6th gym leader together. She is, of course, the Steel type specialist of Olivine City, and she leads with Magnemite. Both Magnemite go down in one single surf. And do we one-shot the Steelix? Of course we one-shot the Steelix. There we go, that's a much smoother gym battle. Mineral badge in 29 minutes and 51 seconds. And while we're doing the housekeeping, of course, we are going to take on the Gyarados. Completely forgot about that after beating up Jasmine. I was so enthused to take on another gym leader. That Gyarados is defeated. We can now chat with Lance. We'll make our way into Mahogany, and it then will be time for Price. And that's one rocket section complete and one Border Douglas beaten up. And that means we can take on Price. He is our 7th gym leader today. He is, of course, the Ice type specialist of Mahogany Town. And he leads with Seal. Seal goes down in a couple of headbutts. We'll headbutt the Dugong now as well. Get all of those lovely flinches. And then we can surf over the Piloswine. A very simple Price battle there. And we obtain our 7th penultimate Jotonian badge. The Glacier badge in 35 minutes and 17 seconds. And with 7 gym badges to our name, that means we're going to start heading through the Ice Path towards Blackthorn. And in the Ice Path, we are going to pick up the Nevermelt Ice. You never know when that could come in useful. Could change a couple of 2-shots into 1-shots. Could take a couple of ranges out of the equation as well. And we are now in the underground of Goldenrod's department store, ready to take on rival number 4. He leads with Golbat. We'll use Surf against the Golbat, knock it out in 1. We'll surf against the Magnemite as well. Now, will we one-shot the Meganium? Yes, yes we will. Absolutely fantastic, no other issues at all in this battle. We'll surf away the Sneasel to finish off, and we're through Rival 4 in just over 40 minutes. I have to say, Hidden Power Psychic is doing exactly what I wanted it to do on this run. It's freed up surfs for the Pokemon that need surf the absolute most. So it's meant that I've not had to go quite as deep into PP management as I normally would in this part of the challenge. And that's been incredibly refreshing actually. It might not seem like the best Hidden Power type on paper, but it is one of those very good all-purpose moves. Anyway, I've got a lot of rockets to deal with now. I'm not going to make you sit through them. Let's skip ahead to Blackthorn. And that's the rockets dealt with for another run. We can move on to Claire. She is our final Johtonian gym leader, a Dragon-type specialist who leads with Dragonair. Dragonair is going to go down in one Ice Punch, so we don't need to worry about those. We can think exclusively about this Kingdra. We want to try and avoid a Healing Loop as best as we can, so I think Return could be the order of the day. She's Hyper Beamed anyway, so Healing Loop or no Healing Loop, we were going to get through. And let's now rush to the Dragon's Den to get our badge. So after answering 11212 as we always do, Claire comes into the Dragon's Den and she awards us the Rising Badge in 47 minutes and 11 seconds. And with that, we have all 8 Johtonian Gym badges. That means it's time to head to the League. And now that we're in the Pokemon League, we will pick up the HP up. We'll need that for the Karen fights. We're also going to pick up Earthquake. Not sure if or when we're going to teach Earthquake, but we do learn it and it is a good move to have at our disposal if we do need it. And now let's take on rival number 5. He leads with Sneasel, so we'll use Surf and grow up to 51. And up next is Magneton. We might as well continue surfing against the Magneton. We take it out in a single hit. And we're on to the Meganium. It's not quite a one-shot this time. And his Meganium can critical hit with Razor Leaf. We were struggling all the time with our Venusaur critical hitting, so when we redo Meganium, we'll have to see if it was just a problem with Venusaur. In the meantime, we'll take care of the last of his Pokemon, and we get through first try in 50 minutes and 12 seconds. And that means we're at the Pokemon League for another run. We'll heal up whether we need to or not, and we will buy our 4 full restores. And then we will go into the League, where our first League member is going to be Will. So this is Will, he is a Psychic-type specialist, and he's going to lead with Xatu. We'll use Surf on the Xatu, no sense in using a super effective move if a non-super will knock it out in one. However, we will use Ice Punch against the Executor. That brings us on to the Jinx, and we've got Return just for the Jinx, a very strong physical move for her. And we'll continue using our strong physical moves against the Slowbro. Psychic's going to hit for negligible damage, and then we can use an Ice Punch on the last Xatu. That's Will defeated. We can move ourselves on to Koga. Koga is a Poison-type specialist, and he's going to lead with Ariados. So we'll start off with a Surf against the Ariados, we'll knock it out in one. And up second is Venomoth. We don't have anything too great for the Venomoth, but Toxic has got its Gen 2 miss, thank goodness. That's meaning he's less likely to go for the old stalling strategies now. We'll use a couple of Surfs hopefully on this Muck, and we don't actually hit through Minimize for once. That is incredibly rare. We'll use an Ice Punch here against the Crobat, and it's not quite a one-shot. That's particularly frustrating, especially because he's loving the old double team there. It turns out it was arranged the entire time. Not going to complain though. We are through Koga and we can move on to Bruno. So Bruno is our third League member. He is a fighting-type specialist, and he's going to lead with Hitmontop. We'll use Surf against Hitmontop as he's going for detectable moves. He's gone underground now. There's not much we can do about that, but we don't take much damage. Up second is going to be Hitmonchan. How much does Return do? Not that much. We haven't been paralysed though by Thunder Punch, and I'm sure Return will one-shot Hitmonlee regardless. Now the Machamp is going to hit very hard with Cross Chop, but he doesn't get a crit and he gets caught in a healing loop, and that will just leave poor old Onix left to go. Onix with no special defense whatsoever goes down in a single full-time super effective hit, and that is Bruno done in a time of 52.47. And that brings us on to Karen. Karen, my least favourite to face up against in all of the Pokemon League. Let's see how we get on. This one could be a little bit tricky. She is of course a dark type specialist. She leads with Umbreon. We're not able to two-shot the Umbreon unfortunately, and we have been sand attacked. Let's see how we get on against this Vileplume now. Critical hit is wonderful there, that's exactly what we needed. We'll surf on the Gengar as it goes for Lick instead of Curse. And then we'll surf over the Murkrow. We'll grow to level 53 against this Houndoom. And we will finish Karen off first try. No thank you to Skull Bash, we've got return, and Skull Bash is ostensibly 2-turn return. It's not worth anything to us in this run. And I think, you know, we can move straight on to Lance. But we are at a fairly clean level. So just because we can, we'll stick in all of our rare candies now. Let's now take on Lance. He is the liar with the flyers. And he's going to lead with Gyarados. So we'll use Ice Punch against the Gyarados as he goes straight for Hyper Beam. Not quite sure why he's doing that, but I will happily take that. We'll Ice Punch Dragonite number 1. And then out comes Dragonite number 2. We've got another Ice Punch for that. And that brings us on to the third Dragonite. We'll continue using Ice Punch, 3 one-shots against those. And then we could swap to Surf for his last 2 Pokemon. That's Charizard down, that is Aerodactyl down as well. 0 resets so far through this challenge, and a Lance time of 54 minutes and 36 seconds. That is a very respectable time considering we did a little bit of pre-grinding at the beginning of the challenge. Let's now get our final Hall of Fame time for this one, and that's going to be 54.53. And with that, we can take a look at the midpoint leaderboards. And so Blastoise is finishing in 10th place on our Unbound midpoint leaderboard and 29th place on our overall midpoint leaderboard. Don't forget though, this is only half of the story. There is of course another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere because Kanto is next. And now we are rejoining the action as we always do here in Vermilion City, where we are going to go into the Pokemon Fan Club, and we're going to get a rare candy from the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. And with that safely tucked away in our bag for yet another challenge, I'm more than pleased to announce that Blastoise is definitely capable of taking on our standard Kantonian routing. So that means we're going to start here in Vermilion City with Lieutenant Surge. We will take a trip over to Celadon City to face Erica. Then it'll be down Cycling Road to Fuchsia City for Janine. It's back up to Saffron City for Sabrina. Even further up to Cerulean City for Misty, our co-water type specialist for this one. It's across to Pewter for a very easy Brock. Down to the Seafoam for an even easier Blaine, and then we'll finish off in Viridian City with Blue. Now talking of Blue, if you do want to skip ahead to the Blue fight and miss the Kanto chat, it will be starting at around about 26 minutes and 20 seconds. For everybody else though, we are now going to sit back, we'll relax, and we'll have our standard Kantonian chat. And in this one we're going to be pulling back the curtain a little bit, and I want to talk to you all about my workflow. Hopefully going forward now that I've moved into my new office, I always work best when I do things in bulk. I find that I can really hyper-focus on one thing for a very long time, but eventually that hyper-focus will wear out. It's a little bit like having a superpower, but you can't really control what your superpower is or how long you have the superpower for. And for the last couple of weeks, I've had the superpower of playing the runs. And then this week, I've had the superpower of being able to edit all the runs down and do the little voiceover bits that I add on in post-production. And then who knows what my superpower will be in the next couple of weeks. I could end up going back to Minecraft and playing that for a little bit. I could play another game for hours upon end. I just never know where my brain is going to take me. But I am learning to take full advantage of this superpower of being able to play Pokemon Crystal for extended periods of a time. And I am going to be running with it to the hills. So I'm going to be working very much in advance of myself, because eventually the superpowers do come back and they do all go in a cycle. So as long as I've got enough videos backlogged, I should be absolutely fine to at least keep semi-regular content going. Now, we are actually in the part of the year which I struggle with the most. I really do not like the dark months of the year, so I need to do everything I can to keep myself motivated for the final 3 months of the year. That September equinox through to the December solstice really does take it out of me, because at least once you pass shortest day, the days are getting longer again, so it is like the dark days are over and we can look forward to the future. So it's currently mid-September as I'm recording these videos here. I'm hoping to get all of the year's content actually done by the middle of October, and then I'm going to be hibernating. I'll be doing the streams, so please do make sure you subscribe to get notified for when I stream. But the pre-records will be all done and dusted, and I won't have to think about any pre-records until after the silly C word has been and gone. That is the aim. Whether it will come to fruition is a different matter. As we all know, my health is a little bit of a fickle being. But touch wood, we are through the worst of it for the year. I blooming hope so anyway. It's been an absolutely horrible year for my different conditions flaring up, and they've all taken their own little turn instead of coming all at once, which is how it often happens. So while I've been overall healthier, I've been incapacitated and out of action a little bit longer than normal, because things have spread themselves about. Anyway, with that said, we're back over to the live run with Blue. And we have made it to Blue for another run. Let's see how we get on. He is our final gym leader, a mixed type specialist who leads with Pidgeot. Ice Punch is capable of one-shotting Pidgeot, so we're on to Executor. Executor being second could be dangerous because of Leech Seed, but we got rid of it in one shot. We'll use Return against the Alakazam, we can take care of that in one as well. And that brings us on to Gyarados. Now, what is Gyarados going to do? He's going to Twister, that's absolutely fine by us. And we've got Arcanine up next. He's going to use a bit of extreme speed, but that's absolutely fine as well, because we can finish it off with a Surf. That just leaves poor old Rhydon left to go. Quad super effective Surf finishes the job. And that's the Earth Badge in 1 hour, 7 minutes and 47 seconds. Let's make our way to Silver Cave. And we are in front of Red here in Silver Cave. Let's engage him in battle. Let's see how we get on. I did teach Ice Beam at Goldenrod's game corner just to give us a better chance against the Venusaur. Venusaur's gone for Sunny Day, so we're going to go for Rain Dance here. Take full advantage of Solar Beam being a 2-turn move in the rain. That will also then give us a much more powerful Surf against the Espeon. And we are on to Snorlax. Now, what are we going to do with Snorlax? I think Fish for a Freeze is probably the only thing we can do. We've been paralysed, which isn't great. And we're going to take a reset. Might end up needing to ditch Return, you know, in favour of Dynamic Punch. It's only going to be 50-50. But that 50-50 is better than the 10% chance we have at the moment with Ice Beam. In fact, I'm going to commit to it. We're going to get rid of Return. I don't think we need Return for anything else. And let's take Red on once more. We know we're only facing 5 Pokemon because Pikachu goes down in 1. And that brings us on to Venusaur once more. We will use Rain Dance now to counter the Sunny Day. He takes in Sunlight and we can knock it out. And then that boosted Surf isn't quite enough to one-shot Espeon, but it still does a lot of damage. We're back onto this pesky Snorlax, the bane of many water types' life. Double Amnesia, triple Dynamic Punch miss, goodness me, absolutely ridiculous. So we'll try once more. Unfortunately, for a lot of water types, that Snorlax proves to be just a little bit too much of a wall for us to deal with. At least the rest of the battle should be fairly simple in theory. Taking some psychic damage this time, goodness me. That does mean that Dynamic Punch will do a heck of a lot if it can ever hit. There we go. Now do not hit me with Body Slam. Okay, do not paralyse me with Body Slam. And it's hit itself in confusion, that's what we like to see. And now we're at a point where we can finish it off with Surf, hopefully. No, we can't. Let's try again. 50-50 is feeling a lot less reliable than the 10% now that we're doing it in practice. At least we know the opening to this one, and at least the opening is fairly simple. We haven't been able to hit that Snorlax yet without it going for Amnesia first. And Reflect is up this time as well, just to make things even worse. There we go, there's a Dynamic Punch landing. He still manages to get an Amnesia off though, because of course he does. 3 Dynamic Punches in a row, and he knocks himself out. We're going to use another Dynamic Punch. Goodness me, we've hit 4 in a row against this Blastoise. We got 5 for 5. That never happens. We will celebrate that. We'll finish this thing off now with a couple of Surfs. Oh, we don't even need to. It's knocked itself out. Charizard's last. Charizard being pesky there, taking 2 shots. But that was probably the luckiest we will ever be with Dynamic Punch. 1:12:49 for the Blastoise challenge. Let's see where that puts us on our leaderboards. And so for our Unbound leaderboard, we have climbed up to 9th place, in between Beware and Feraligatr. And for our overall leaderboard, we are in 28th place. But with that, we have come to the end of yet another challenge. So I really hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more runs just like this, then click the subscribe button. If you want to see more runs just like this, but a little bit earlier, you can join the channel membership and become a HM friend. And until next time, when we're giving Zangoose a second try on its anniversary special, I will say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure, as it always is, and I will catch you all very, very soon.